I'm super excited you're joining me with Exploring Delta Lake. Today, on the third part, we're going to look into the checkpoint mechanism and the compaction mechanism and how do they work. We're currently looking at the Delta Lake itself, or the open source. All right, cool. And I would like to find where the checkpoint is being handled. So I'm just going to search for checkpoint. All right, checkpoint metadata. This might be a good place to start. All right, so where does this live? This is under, oh, I don't want the one on target. I want the one in the actual invariant enforcement suite, case sensitivity, schema enforcement. Yes, in Delta Lake, there's also schema enforcement, which is super interesting. I want to know where the checkpoint is being handled. Java, Scala streaming, Delta streaming checkpoint, get canonical path. And this is under examples. All right. I actually don't want the examples at the moment. I want to see the core itself. So I'm going to, delta implicit. Maybe here we'll find something related to checkpoint. No. What about SQL? Or tables? Execution? Delta convert, delta table operations, vacuum, merge builder. Is there some checkpoint? Checkpoint. No. Interesting. So where is the handling of checkpoint taking place? Oops, sorry for that. Okay, so let's start with the testing, just because we can't find where it's being there should be under Spark delta SQL parser. This shouldn't be here. Delta convert to delta command. That's okay. Delta table operations. No checkpoint, but it should be related to the delta log. So that's fine. Delta log for table. And when the delta log, we know that the checkpoint is taking place every 10 new delta log that was created. So transaction, commit, Spark read. I want to see where we are. Test batch writers, check constraint, test streaming with rejection. Oh, we're in the testing. I want the delta log itself. Catalyst, delta constraint, delta delete, delta merge, delta update. Oh, here it is. We might find it here under Spark SQL delta operations, and not actually under tables, unless the merge builder with clause, merge plan to data frame, execute query, duplicate resolves. Interesting. Okay. Actions. Cancel. In-memory log, catalog, delta, Yeah, delta extends, command, alter delta table, convert, create, delete command, delete, generate, describe, merge, update, vacuum. Vacuum is interesting. Okay, constraints, but we're not going to dig into the vacuum now. But basically, it means that it's clearing all untracked files. So we know once we are deleting the file, we're putting a tombstone on the file saying this file is deleted, but we don't physically delete it until there is some call to vacuum that goes and kind of clean all the unnecessary files. So right into Delta, maybe this operation will have some checkpoint. No checkpoint mechanism. Check constraint, delta invariant, expression logic, invariance. No. What about files? Delete commit, delta source snapshot. SQL metrics reporting. Tahoe file index. Transaction rights. Hooks. Generate symlink manifest. For Hive style manifest. Okay. This is cool. Post commit. Metering. Delta logging. Schema. Sources. Delta SQL stats. Yes, we love stats in here, the accumulators as well. An accumulator that keeps array of counts. Counts from multiple partition are merged by index. Yes, this is an array accumulator extending accumulator v2. Very cool. Delta scan, storage. Yeah, okay. Anything interesting here in the storage? Log store implements for Azure. We assume the following from Azure implementation. Rename without override is atomic, and list of the right is consistent. And it extends the Hadoop file system. It's just implements right with rename, and the rest comes from the extended functionality, which is similar. Okay. Anything different for S3 here? They have their own result, path keys, strip user info, merge file iterators. Okay, list from cache. All right. That's not what we're looking for today, but it's interesting to see that there is a change. Oh, checkpoints. So checkpoints instance. It's a case class. Finally found it. And this is under Delta itself under Spark SQL. All right, let's see what this class is all about. To help with comparing checkpoints with each other, where we may have had concurrent writers that checkpoints with different numbers of parts. Okay, there's a metadata for every checkpoint, so we already know there's its version, size, and the parts that it consists. Okay, due to lexicographic sorting, version with more parts will appear after a version with less parts during the file listing. There's some file listing happening. We know that because we're going over all the JSON files and we're trying to read them and process them and later on write them as a checkpoint in parquet format, which is faster to read than the small, tiny JSON files. Yes. Checkpoints extends the delta logging. Okay. And it holds who implements that. Yes. Checkpoints has log path, data path, snapshot, log store. and log store interface for all critical file system operations. Yes, so this is, it knows if it lives on Azure or NS3, and then the metadata itself, which holds the metadata of the table, which has ID, name, description, format, schema string, partition columns, configuration, and create time, and a lot more fields. This probably also help with schema enforcing because it holds the schema string in the metadata itself of the table. Used to clean up stale log files, do log cleanups, last checkpoint. Okay, so it knows when was the last checkpoint. So if we'll see a path with the log path and last checkpoint, this is how it identified it. And the actual create the checkpoint in the current log version. So the actual checkpoint, record delta operations, of course, snapshot to check, giving the snapshot. If it's less than 0, can it be? Who started this? If it's smaller than 0, throw checkpoint non-exist table. Okay. Otherwise, checkpoint, metadata, checkpoints. Otherwise, create a new checkpoint instance or metadata instance with the snapshot to check checkpoint. Okay, so this returns checkpoint metadata, which is a case class that holds version, size, and parts. Okay. So this returns checkpoint metadata. And it writes the actual checkpoint. So it has the snapshot, which is from type snapshot. And this is interesting. So the snapshot is an immutable snapshot of the states of the log at some delta version. Internally, this class manages the reply of actions stored in checkpoint or delta files. After resolving any new actions, it caches the result and collects the following basic information: protocol, metadata, transaction state. So the snapshot itself is actually being calculated before, and I'm curious who triggers that. So I can go and see find usages. All right. Defined usages, I've noticed there's delta retention suit, suit base, suit transaction. So few places. There's the delta command with the delta log checkpoint. It's really one of the triggers. And then there is the optimistic transaction that uses it. Let's look at this one first. And there is a perform post commit operation. So post commit, if commit version is not 0, and commit version, forgot the name of this operation, divided without residue in the delta log checkpoint interval equals 0, which means it's you can divide it by 10. Then operates and do the delta log checkpoint. So this is the function, or basically this is the line that checks for the checkpoint interval itself. Let's see where this gets started. So this configuration comes from delta config checkpoint interval from the metadata. You know what? It makes me curious about delta configs. What more exists here that we can learn about the various configuration? Entries, SQL prefixes. Probably we will need the object class if it's here. Okay. Minimum reader version, minimum writer version. Cool. Log retention. We already saw it before. How much do we want to log? Sample retention. Checkpoint retention duration. So this is the one we want to change if you want to change the checkpoint retention duration itself. if you want to keep the checkpoint file around before deleting them. Checkpoint interval. How often do you want to check a delta log? So if you want to switch it from 10 to something else, you can see the default value here is 10. Enable expired. Okay. All of these parameters can be configured beforehand if we provide the configurations to the delta config. So everything should be there, and it's basically going to take all the configuration from there as well. And yeah, this is where it is. So it's part of the optimistic transaction, and as part of the optimistic transaction there is the post commit. Let's see, usages, post commit, protected. It comes from the commit itself. So this is the function who runs the commit on optimistic transaction line 388, and this takes place as part of it. Yes, so it takes place as part of a post commit here once it's succeeded with doing the commits. Cool, cool, cool. All right, I hope you liked that. It was fun digging into the code and actually finding the configuration and how it all looks like. Yeah, I'm looking forward to your comments on my new blog post. It's going to talk about commit and compacts and how it works in the operation and the multi-part, the checkpoint multi-part versus one file of checkpoint. Hope you like it and let me know what you think. All right, thanks. Bye.